Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I am chatting with my new friend Rachel from How About Balloons in Texas, and she, interestingly enough, wrote me a cold pitch email. She said, I'd like to come on the podcast and I have something I'd like to talk about. And interesting enough, it is about cold pitches. So this is hitting me at a really great time. I just left my full-time job. I'm looking to bring in a little bit of new business and actually be on the offense instead of the defense. So instead of just responding to whoever lands in my inbox, I really want to shift and target the people that I want to work with. So that is what we were talking about, how to build a network, how to reach out to people on Instagram or via email. And this is really interesting because Rachel and her mom, Lisa, run this business together, and they have had a lot of success with this type of marketing. So I am so excited to jump into this interview. It is a long one, so get comfortable, but the information is so valuable. I know there were several things that I took from this interview and have since been able to implement in my business. So let's take a quick break to hear from a sponsor, and then we will get into this wonderful interview with Rachel. Summer is upon us, and that means graduation parties, 4th of July celebrations, and lots of baby and bridal showers. So instead of waiting until the last minute to order your materials, do yourself a favor and head over to havinaparty.com and just do a big inventory haul. You know you're going to use those balloons, and there's nothing worse than scrambling at the last minute to find what you need. So thank you to our supporters over at Having a Party Wholesale for always being such a great sponsor for this podcast. Do me a favor, help me out by using the code BRIGHTBALLOON at checkout so that they know I sent you, and that even saves you 5%. All right, welcome, Rachel. I'm so excited to chat with you. You have so much to share with us. I can't wait. I also have a terrible cold, so if you're not sure who you're hearing right now, it's me. But I'm very excited to talk to you about customer communication. I think that that's an area that we can never be too good at, never stop learning, never stop trying new things. So welcome to this episode. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your business, How About Balloons in North Dallas.
Hello, I am Rachel with How About Balloons. We are a mother-daughter duo in North Dallas. So out here, there's a million different suburbs, and so we kind of service the north area of Dallas. And we just started kind of like everyone else, I feel like. COVID hit, things changed, and we'd been doing balloons for family events, and we just decided, I was like, I don't know, should we do a company? My mom's like, yes, let's do it. And we kind of took both of our backgrounds and smushed them into a balloon business.
That's amazing. And do you still work full-time at your other job?
No, so I am a pediatric dental hygienist, and I work 1 day a week. I had to do a lot of school and all kinds of things to get my license. And so I like seeing my patients. I see only kids, and I go 1 day a week. Kind of helps me keep my foot in the door there. And it's nice to leave and do that. We are a home-based business. So I still do that 1 day a week.
Yeah, I know that has nothing to do with what we're going to chat about today, but I do think that's an interesting side note. Because I just talked with Jenny Porter on a previous episode, and she was a nurse and also talked about keeping your license going, because even though you might not want to be a full-time nurse right now, that's so much of your time and so much of your schooling and a huge part of your identity. So she still works on a part-time basis. I think that's a good option too. It's not all or nothing. You could go down to part-time and kind of keep a foot in the door like you were saying. I think that's a good point to make.
Absolutely. Her whole episode, I was driving down the road, like nodding my head, like, yes, yes.
I
Like
know, I know.
everything
Jenny's the
she was
best.
saying, I was like, yes.
She's so good. So talk about your background as a dental hygienist. You said that has helped you really master communication with people.
Yes, absolutely. So anybody that goes to see their dentist and their hygienist knows, like, you go from 0 to 100 with your hygienist. You walk in, she knows everything about you. She knows all about your grandma, everything that's going on in life. And then literally 2 seconds later, like, she's actually in your mouth. So that's not a normal relationship. And you kind of pack everything with your patients into the first, 3 minutes. And you just have to learn how to relate to people. Like, some people come in, they're nervous. Some people come in, they're upset. Some people are excited and they want to tell you about their life. So you kind of learn how to communicate with people in a really fast, condensed way. And I feel like that is really translated to balloons. Like,
That's interesting. I would
yeah, like,
imagine you're also pretty good at reading cues. Like
yes,
you
I
can
can
tell when people
tell.
are uncomfortable.
Yes, you can tell when they're uncomfortable. You can tell when they're, you get calls from clients and they're like, I think I want balloons. I don't know. I've never done this before. And they want you. You just have that feeling like they are like, please just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And so, you can kind of take that over for them. And I think it's helped. Like, I feel like we can really, I do handle most of the calls at this point because of that. So most of the calls and the direct communication with the clients I'll handle. My mom's background is in accounting. She's been an accountant for like 30
Oh, that's a
years.
good person to have in your business.
Yes. And so she'll handle kind of the back, that's her like back of the house, I guess, forte. And so eventually, like, the plan is to grow to the point where we're both taking calls and hiring and doing all kinds of things like that. But for now, it's just kind of easy. I feel like our clients really enjoy building that relationship with us. It turns into a friendship a lot of
Yeah, and
times.
we'll tag you so people can check out your Facebook and Instagram. But what type of decor do you do?
So our goal is to grow to do mainly businesses and corporates, and then
Okay.
kind of keep like the backyard parties and the personal events, just like our steady, like, I guess, backbone. But then what we really want to do, like, we would love to do just 2 or 3 corporate events a month and then
Yeah.
grow more from there. So
And
when
in
we're
your
raising,
area, I know Dallas. We talked about this before we started recording. I feel like every other person on Instagram is a balloon decorator from Dallas. Like it's crazy how many people, but also it's such a huge area. Are you finding that the popularity of balloons there have pushed your corporate clients to a more modern look? Are they doing organic or are they still sticking with that classic?
it's kind of a split. I feel
Okay.
like they call you and they, like, columns are our number one, like, selling
Classic, like a
product.
spiral column.
Not a spiral, organic.
Oh, okay.
So they want the column, they want it freestanding, and they love that they can move it around. It's like
Mhm.
all our corporate clients love that. They just want to be able to pick it up, and we show everybody when we deliver it. Stick your hand in here, and you can move it. They love that. They repurpose them. They drag them all around the office. So it's like they want a split. They want something that stands by itself, but that looks modern. Like, one of our clients loves Starburst. Like, 100% you're going to do Starburst for every single thing she does. But she's like a corporate client at a bank.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I have seen
it's a
that
weird
too.
thing.
I think it's a bit short-sighted to just think, oh, they're corporate, so it's going to be classic. Like I love classic. I think it's like
Yeah.
when there's like a 30-foot balloon arch with a perfect spiral. I know I'm not a popular opinion, but like I think that's stunning. I'm like, oh, it's so perfect. Like
Yes.
I definitely gravitate towards organic. Like I will always pitch organic because I just love how that looks. But from like a satisfying and simple and profitability standpoint, like I love classic. But I'm split too. I think people are liking both, which I really like. I like that it doesn't have to be one or the other. I think a lot of corporate clients really just want the style that they want. I don't think we can put them in a box. But for my
I
personal parties, I feel like they're almost all organic at this point.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think we've done a single, I'm like thinking through all the things we've
Yeah.
done. I don't think we've done a single traditional thing for like a private event, like for a
Yeah.
person. But for
Unless it's like
companies,
a circus and they want that like
yeah,
spiral for a reason, or like Christmas, like a candy cane. But short of that, it's always organic garlands for me.
exactly, exactly. And we have spent, last year was our first year in business, and like obviously I was like digesting everything that you say on
Oh,
the
you're such a baby.
podcast.
I love it. Like brand new. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened, but now I'm like a mid-age balloon company. I never thought 7 years would make me like a veteran. But yeah, oh man, the beginning is so fun, but so hard. It's like you have to buy everything and learn
You
everything
do.
and troubleshoot everything.
You do. Well, and the one of the main things we talked about, it's been awesome. Like the fact that we're a duo and that we're mother-daughter, like that takes off all these layers of building a business by yourself or with someone else that maybe like, I mean, mom and I are never, we're always on each other's team. We're always like rooting for each other. We want the company to succeed. And so when I say, "Oh, what do you think about this?" Like if she'll be like, yes, no, and then we, like navigate it and find a space for design or for like an idea for something on Instagram. But like our main goal was to, we said from the beginning, we want to build a company. Like we want to build something where when people think balloons in North Dallas, they think us, like whether it's backyard party or corporate event. And so we kind of dove in with 2 feet straight from the get and set everything up to build like a big business. Cause I mean, we have balloon
Interesting.
therapy out here. Like we have huge people out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
like
what are
we
some
want
of
to
the
be,
steps that you took to do that? Like thinking like, okay, growth is our goal from the beginning. What are some of the pieces you put in place? Because I had no idea. I was like, well, I guess I have a website now and ooh,
yeah.
now I should probably have a logo. Like I did not have growth. I still don't have growth mindset. Like I still don't want to grow. I want to grow in profitability and money, but I don't want
Yeah.
more team members. I hate managing people. But like what did you do to set yourself up for that?
So in the beginning, one of the first things I tell all my friends where they're like, I'm thinking about starting a small business, I'm like, get business cards. Some people will tell you not to. I'm like, get a business card and then you have something to prove that you have a company in the beginning. And so that was one of the first things we did. And then we just really set up and started talking about like, what do we need? We went after jobs that we wanted that were larger scale, knowing that some of the profit from those jobs would go straight towards purchasing things that we needed for the company. So we
So did you
started.
take I'm curious, again, I keep derailing this
No,
conversation,
you're
but
fine.
everything you say is interesting. Did you take out any loans or did you have any seed money to get going or do you like bootstrap everything?
We both came to the table with like I think it was like $1,000 a piece.
Okay.
And so with mom's tax background, mom being Lisa, I'm like, it feels ridiculous to call her Lisa. She's my mother. But she was like, we need enough of a cushion so that we can always pay our taxes and have everything in order. So we put that cushion money in and we like to just kind of always let a little cushion sit. But then we would do things like, um, every order we would get in the beginning, every order we would get, we would buy enough balloons to do the exact same thing again.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
our hope was like, okay, we just did like a UT is a big school out here that tons of the kids go to, obviously. And so we did a UT grad party. Okay, well, we want to do another one. So the goal was to put it on Instagram and book the same thing again and kind of build a stock. We did our biggest install ever was last November, and I think there were over 30 columns between inside and outside, freestanding arch, organic decor. We got like a 27-foot truck. It was so much fun. The whole house was filled with balloons, and we felt like it was just this moment where when we were like building the balloons and doing that project, it was like, okay, these pictures we're taking, like we're gonna look back in 10 years and like this is gonna be like that first big thing.
Yeah.
And so, we bought all the outdoor column stands, all the indoor column stands, like, and now when we have clients ask us, oh, we need 10 columns inside or outside, we've got you either way. So our big thing last year was to lay the foundation to be able to accept any job no matter the scale and to build the knowledge to be able to confidently convey that to our clients and to be able to sell, like you've said before in your other episodes, like if you don't have what you need to build 6 arches, then you can't sell 6 arches.
Right.
But once you have that sitting there waiting for you to use it, like we're ready to go. So we are ready to take on those big clients. Like, and that's what we want to do. We want big clients.
Yeah. And that's so hard in the beginning. I remember having this conversation. So my like balloon best friend, Dennis, was on this show. He's like this world-renowned balloon twister, but does a ton of decor. And he's the one who kind of introduced me to balloons. And I remember in the beginning just being like, I'm just like hemorrhaging money. Like I'm making no
Yeah.
money. And I remember in the beginning, he was like, you're going to get to the point where you won't have to buy as much stuff. Like you're going to have all the supplies, you're going to have a back stock of balloons, and then it will be profitable. So it's really hard that first year
Yes.
because it doesn't feel like you're making money. Because anytime you make $100, then you're like, okay, well, now I have to buy a regulator and figure out helium, and there goes my $100. And it's so anyone who's starting out feeling like you're not making money, it's really hard to be super duper profitable in the beginning because you don't have the stuff yet. But the cool thing is all that structural stuff. Like I remember, like you just said, I remember my first job where I was like, they want 6 arches and like 20 columns, and I don't have that stuff. So I had to go out and buy all of it, but now I do. So you only do that one time and then you recoup your materials. So it is really hard and a balancing act at the beginning. But yeah, it's once you start getting those big jobs, it's almost like magically you bring in more. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know how that works. I don't have any tips, but like maybe it's because you post those things and people are like, wow, I didn't know you could do something that big.
Exactly. And I just think then your mindset changes too. Like when you have one column stand in the beginning and you have a client calling in there, like, can I get 2 columns? You're like, okay, yes, you can. I can get another column stand. But when you're looking at 30, 40 columns, like
Yeah.
all in your garage.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, somebody needs to buy these columns because I'm tired of looking at these stands. Like, let's
Right.
go.
Exactly. And then I remember what did I have? I think I had 100 lampstands at one point because I did my biggest job ever. And it was a high school graduation. A high school reunion. It was like a 50th. And some rich former graduate paid for all the balloons. So they had a $10,000 budget. Still today, it's my biggest job ever. And they had like 50 tables and they each had a centerpiece. So I was like, I'm not going to say no, but also like, I don't have 50 lampstands to chop down and make centerpieces. And then they wanted columns and then the hanging. But even though, I mean, obviously there was profit in a $10,000 job, no matter how you slice it. But I had all those lamps and I don't think I had to buy another lampstand for like 3 years. Like I just liquidated everything I had. It was nice. And because I had so many, I also wasn't like super stingy about going back to get them. If it was far away, it was like, you know what? That's already paid for itself like 3 times. I'm going to let that one go and move on to number 99 of my stock. But I'm finally out and I'm like, no, I hate putting them together. They're the worst.
Our clients will put their stands out. We always give them the option. Like we build it into the budget to where we don't have to go get them.
Mm-hmm.
But tons of them are just like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't want to throw it away. And so we always give them the option, like, a couple times a month, we kind of just like drive the area and they'll just put them out on their porch.
That's awesome. I did that once for when I was doing all the yard poles.
Yeah.
Same thing. It was just a piece of PVC, but like it adds up. It's $3 here and there, and you're doing 10 a day, and all of a sudden. So I did that once too. I was like, if you don't want this, just like put it outside. I'll come get it. And I just did a big loop and picked up 20 of them, and it's free money,
Made all that back. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then one more thing I want to talk about starting up is my biggest expense was my inflator. Do you have a sizer? Do you have a professional sizer yet?
So now you like put me on the spot. I can't think of the name of the one we have. I think.
What color is it?
It's blue. It's blue, and
it premium.
No, it's not because they were just running a bunch of stuff where it was like you can get premium stuff with your. No, I think it's like Borosino maybe.
Yeah. That's another brand.
Yeah, and we have 2 of those. So it's kind of like it depends on where you are in your business, whether it's a high or low expense. It's like in the $300 range, but it is a sizer. And so we kind of calibrated. We have the same settings on both of ours, and it has taken, organic decor takes no time now. It's
Interesting. Yeah, that was my big thing. Because mine was, so I have a premium. I got it 5 years ago. I still love it. It is such a workhorse.
yes.
But it was $1,200. And I remember being like, this is insane. But same thing. I waited until I had like a $1,500 job and I bought my $1,200 inflator. And then I spent the rest of the money on balloons, and I didn't make any money, but I got this tool that was going to help me make more money. So that was another piece of dentist advice. And he told me, like, people beat themselves up for not profiting on every single job, but like, if you're learning, like if you're being paid to learn and also getting equipment at no cost, that's a huge win. Like that doesn't happen
Yeah,
in
that
any
is a
other
profit.
industry. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. Our inflators, we had the little pink boxes. And then when we did that install in November, we were literally burning them up. Like
Oh yeah.
they were like sparking from the inside. And we
Oh
had
my gosh.
discussed like, okay, are we gonna, and so once it was time, it was time. It was like, okay, yeah, like we need something that's gonna go faster. It cut our inflating time. Like I I don't want to say by half, but probably pretty
Oh, I'm sure.
close.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Hot take. Everyone listening who is using an inflator that they got on Amazon for like $20, you're thinking, it's fine. It works. This is great. You're all crazy for spending that much money on inflators. I swear, if you get like an Air Force 4, it looks like a bucket. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. You will be so fast at inflating. It's like crazy. It's a game changer. And it goes from like, 15 minutes to make a column down to like 5. Like it's literally a
Oh
matter of how fast you can tie at that point.
yes. Yeah. We have all our settings, and this one, it tells you in the seconds, like how
Yeah.
fast. And I mean, you're blowing up. Your 5-inch ones are like 0.2
Yeah,
seconds.
right.
And that's for two, I mean, it just flies with
Yeah.
a better inflator.
Absolutely. Well, cool. All right. I love hearing about how your business has grown, but I want to rewind to something you said that I'm fascinated by, and that's going to be the meat of this episode, is that you went after the type of clients you wanted. And I feel like nobody really does that. I'm trying to do that now. It's super challenging. I kind of am like always on defense. I'm waiting to see who ends up in my inbox and they find me, but I want to be more on the offense. How do I go after the people that I want?
Okay. Um, So we have a few different strategies that we used in the beginning. Once we felt like we do use Instagram, but we also use emails. So on the Instagram front, once we felt like we had a page that reflected what we could do, then we reached out to pretty much every event planner in our area, all kinds of venues, just putting ourselves out there.
And did
And
you do that via Instagram?
we did
Okay.
Instagram DMs, and we've landed a few clients that way. To me, I consider Instagram like an email with a portfolio attached,
Hmm.
like when you're reaching out to a client. So it all feels like email to me. So what we kind of have talked about back and forth, we call it like a cold email instead of a cold call. What we do is we reach out and we introduce ourselves, and we have tried to find the best subject line that doesn't read as spam. That's been a hard part because a ton of our emails go straight to spam.
And how
So
are you actually emailing them? Just like Gmail?
yeah, well, we actually paid for, like, our email address goes through our website because
Okay.
it quote unquote reads a little more official.
So it's
Um,
like Rachel at
yeah,
howaboutballoons.com. Okay.
info at, and so sometimes that will push it through to an inbox versus spam, but sometimes not.
Mm-hmm.
So we always include the subject line, and where we look for our clients that we're going after, we want clients that are planning big local events or large companies. And what we found too is that lots of the large companies have either someone who handles all their marketing or someone who handles their internal corporate events or their charitable events, all kinds of things like that. So you can go anywhere you would go as a mom to like look for what's going on in the community, like Eventbrite is
Sure.
where we find a lot of things. So sometimes if it's slow, we'll just scroll Eventbrite within like a 40-mile radius and send off emails to everyone that we can find where we think balloons would fit their job.
Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed because
I quit my job kind of on a whim. That was not the plan. And my last day is a week from now, like when we're recording this. I'm done next week. And something about that really like put me on the offense in terms of sales,
Yes.
because I was like, I now have the time to think about this. I have time to generate more. Let's do this. However, when I got to the point of like, let's do this, it was like, do what? Like, I'm not
Yes.
exactly sure what I'm supposed to do. So hearing about the email is great, because a lot of people are like, pick up the phone, and that by itself makes me want to faint. Like the thought of getting on the phone with someone, I'd be like, I'm so sorry, and I would just hang up.
Like, I didn't mean to call you, but I want to work with you. Bye.
So I'm very excited that you're saying that there is a path through email. However, let's take a quick break, and then I want to get into the real nuts and bolts. So let's talk about that subject line. Let's talk about what you say, what the follow-up is, how you don't cry when people say no. We're going to get into all the details after a really quick commercial break.
You may have noticed that recently our commercial breaks sponsored by Asset Lab are now called Balloon Suite. And that is because the great folks over at Asset Lab have niched down even more to better serve our industry with Balloon Suite, which is a templated website process that is specifically catered to our industry. So you know you're going to get great service. They know our industry really well. They even did a team building experience where they made their own grab and go garlands as a team, which is really cool because they all work remote. So there are really great photos out there of their team figuring out how to make a grab and go garland so that they better understand what we do. All of that to say, I am thrilled that my Bright Balloon website is in the process of being handed over to Balloon Suite, and they are working wonders. So that is coming soon. So far, the customer service experience has been great and really hands-off, which is honestly what I need right now. So thank you so much to Asset Lab and Balloon Suite for sponsoring this podcast. If you are looking to level up your online presence, reach out today using the link in the show notes.
All right, welcome back. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, because I think we all know we should be doing this, but then it's really hard to know exactly what to do. So let's go back to what you were talking about before. Something as simple as a subject line. What does that look like? And then let's move on to the email in terms of like, what are you even asking?
Okay. So on this subject line, the thing that we have found that works the best is something like local balloon company introduction.
Okay.
Or that way they know what they're getting into. Because a lot of emails, when I think about the emails that I get all the time, a lot of them are spam, right? And you know it's spam right away by the subject line. Like, look at me and find out what I can do for you, or check this out. It's like, okay, no, I don't want to check it out. Like, I didn't ask for this email. And so it's like, an introduction is a word that we've found that helps people to go, oh, okay, like this is just a local company reaching out. Or you can even put your city. Like we work through Allen is our like suburb. So we'll say like Allen Balloon Company introduction. And then most of our emails we just send straight through. We do have a MailChimp account now. We are doing your email marketing. And
good. But see, that's great. But it's like, I feel like that's more for my current clients. They know who I am. They've worked with me. It's the new people that I'm a dummy. Like, I don't know anything. So anything you say, I am just absorbing.
Well, we figured too, like, there's only so many pathways that it's going to take, right? It's going to go to spam and they're never going to see it. It's going to go to spam and they're going to see it 6 months later when they're cleaning out their box. If you have a relevant subject line and they choose to open it, that's a win, right? Then they have we've landed 2 clients where we went to their spam box and they got in a pinch and they were looking for balloons. And so my guess is that they went to their inbox and typed in balloons and we came back up.
That's okay. So that's another reason that I am all in on email marketing, because that's what I do. I'm like, wait, we need someone to plow our driveway. What was the name of that place? I know they email me all the time. Or like, I have to order flowers. What's that one that's always emailing me and I'm just deleting? It's like, it doesn't even matter if they open it. It's like that like subliminal messaging almost.
Yes. Well, and anybody that's in marketing or that is running a charity that puts on a gala, we got a client that does that from cold email and they're actually like returning clients now. So anybody that does stuff like that, they're going to use balloons. At some point in
Yeah.
time, they are going to go looking for someone. And so obviously, you have a Google presence and all that, but when you're sitting in their inbox just waiting for them to find you, it's helpful. So you're going to go to spam, or they're going to open it and be like, I don't care. Or they're going to be like, actually, yeah, I do need that. And we've had that experience several times where, one of our favorite clients that's turned into a friend who we work with all the time, we sent her company a cold email through Instagram, like, hi, just reaching out. They're having an anniversary party. We loved the business. We've been there before. We wanted to see if they needed balloons, and we booked it.
That's
So
amazing. So what are you saying in the email? So the subject is like balloon company introduction. And then I'm
yes.
assuming inside you're like, hi. What comes
Yes.
after that?
Yes. So what we kind of built the structure on was some of the feedback that we had heard through your podcast and on Instagram. A lot of the balloon people, their complaint was they'd get an Instagram message that would say, how much? And they were like, tell me who you are. Like, why are you sending
Yeah.
me this message? So we start out when we say, like, hello, we're a local balloon company in Allen, Texas. We wanted to reach out and introduce ourselves. We're available for any of your balloon needs. And then kind of go from there. Like, if it's a company where we think, okay, they definitely are going to want classic decor. Or if we're saying, we saw your event, you can always put your event. Because I know I've heard on episodes before, you'll say, oh, I was kicking myself because, like, I'll put in like your ballet recital and then copy and paste it and send it to someone who's doing like,
Right.
wine
A funeral.
Yeah, exactly. So just your event, like, we're just reaching out to see if you need any balloons for your upcoming event. And we would love to add you to our client list in 2023, work with you now, work with you in the future. Link our website because that makes it even more official. Like when you say, we encourage you to visit our website and check out our work. And then at the bottom of our email, something we have just recently added that I love is a little picture of ourselves. So it's a picture of us with our logo, and it is supposed to go out with every email. So it just
And are
makes
you
it
adding that
cool.
as a signature or as an attachment?
It is part of our signature. So
Okay.
it's just at the bottom of every email. They don't have to open it. And
See, I've heard that increases spam rates, but like I love it. I don't have that, but I have been meaning to. I love when people put a little headshot. It makes me
yeah,
feel like, oh, it's a person. It's not some big corporation that's just spamming everyone.
exactly. And we put in our high points and we direct them to the companies that we're working with. Like we put in, for a while we were putting in that we were female owned, family operated, because we were really reaching out to other companies that were the same. They were family run companies and they want to work with other family run companies. We had an event planner at one point. She is a female event planner. She has an all-female staff. It's important to her to work with female-run businesses, and they reach out to us and let us know all of that. So,
Nice.
like, you can just kind of customize it, or you can just make like a really nice plain template that's just soft, like, hello, this is who we are. This is what we do. Check it out. Let us know. We'd love to work with you.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
I'm loving this. So, I want you to constructively criticize me because I just started doing this, and actually I'm working with my friend totally on like a trial basis. She just had a baby. She's not wanting to go back to work yet, and I was like, well, I need a little bit of help. So our strategy is that she was kind of doing the digging, finding the events, finding the companies.
Yes.
And then actually she would enter the information as if she were a client on my 17 hats form so that I would just like get it. And then
Yeah.
that would give me the like, okay, it's time to send out the email. And I would send it out. And we were targeting specific events. Like, we see that you have this event coming up. Here is a photo of our best sellers. Are you interested? And it hasn't, we literally only did it for like a week. And then her daughter got sick, so we needed to take a break. But I I got some responses. A lot of people were like, oh my gosh, your work is so awesome. We're not going to use you at this time, but thanks for reaching out. No one was like, how dare you email me? Like, I think that's my worst fear is like people being mad that I'm like, whatever, invading their privacy.
Right.
But so no one's been like negative. A lot of no responses, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think like I'm glad because I kind of thought like let's abandon that strategy because it's not working. But we only did it for a week. So I have 2 questions. Where can I improve? Should I stick with it? And then I guess that's 3 questions. And then my other kind of next topic, let's table that. I'm going to make a little note, but I want to talk about like the follow-up and how aggressive you are with these people. But first, let's just talk about that strategy. Maybe I need to look at my subject line because I think it is a little bit spammy. It's like, we would like to work with you. And I think that's kind of a red flag. So I'm going to modify that.
Right. I think the pictures in there sounds like a great idea. And this is something in the beginning we would do all the time, often. Like we were,
Okay.
in the very beginning, you're so hungry and you're like, I am
Yes.
going to land that client. And we try to bring that energy, every so often. It's like, okay, let's go right back to that. Like that felt like our roots, right? Like just diving in and straight up being like, we want to be your balloon vendor. So I think it's not something we do all the time. Like when we started talking about doing this podcast, I feel like I was like, okay, I'm going to send out like 4 cold emails every day and I'm going to track it and see like how many responses I get. And I got a hilarious response in the beginning of that I'll tell you about in a second. But it's just something I do like when you have, every now and then you have those days, like you said, your schedule's about to change. And you're like, what do I do with my time? Try to send out 10 emails. Or think about, okay, ballet recitals. Like I grew up taking dance classes and recital season is coming. I know for a fact every studio has their costumes ordered and they're getting their venues ready. So now's the time, like maybe find 10, 15 local dance studios and send off an email to all of them.
Okay.
It can be straight up same thing.
You started hinting on another question too, and you're talking about quantities. So you're not being like, send an email, send 10,
No.
and maybe you'll get 1, or like, what's a realistic conversion rate?
I would say so. And it depends on too, like where you're sending it and the involvement of the person you're sending it to. So like our favorite client that we got via a cold email through Instagram, they're active on Instagram. They have a healthy following, but it's not like I'm sending off a cold email to someone with 50,000 followers that has no interest in local balloon decor.
Yeah.
So like you kind of, it's almost like you gotta like read the room and read your audience. And like dance studios specifically, I feel like that's a good topic because it's like relevant right now. In our area, I bet.
But see, I would have never thought of that in a million years. I would never have thought of a dance studio. So that's amazing.
Well, they're everywhere. It's like dentist offices and people that are doing grand openings. They're everywhere. But like you got to kind of sit down and anticipate the season that's coming. So churches are getting ready for Easter and Mother's Day. And so I would be too far ahead if I'm trying to pitch 4th of July right now, but I would be behind the curve if I'm going for St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
So
country clubs and like gated communities that have clubhouses, they're also a good Easter and Mother's Day location because a lot of times they have like member breakfasts, like high ticketed Easter brunches or something, and people love those freaking carrot columns, like the little tapers.
Well, and we have a lot of retirement communities out here and they're full of grandparents. And so what is it that's going to make it fun to get your grandkids to come to your Easter brunch? Like balloons and a place to take a photo. And so sometimes you just have to kind of tell people sometimes like, this is what you need.
So
and then
Rachel, you're blowing my mind. I have so many questions. I'm like starting to sweat. I love this episode so much. Okay. So I'm like furiously writing notes because I have so many questions. So real quick, you mentioned that in the very beginning, you said like to you, email is like basically any type of e-communication. So you are sometimes introducing yourself via email or via Instagram, correct?
Yes.
Are you attempting to get their email in that conversation? Is there anything you're trying to get from that? Like, so you have contact?
When we reach out, when we reach out via Instagram, I feel like those are our relationship builder like cold calls. We're reaching out to say, hey, we're here. Most of the time, if they're interested at all, they'll follow you back on Instagram, and it's just like opening the door.
Yeah.
Every
Okay,
now and
great.
then we'll land a client from that, but that's usually where, they're posting, hey, we're having this party, we're having this party, we're having this party. And we're like, do you need balloons? And then they are like ready and waiting, trying to book everything. So then you might land a client, but otherwise
And
it's
you're
like,
doing
hey,
that privately, right? You're doing that in a DM. You're not like posting it on their public post about the event,
no.
right? Okay, good. I think that's like really invasive. So I just wanted to double check.
No. And it is all, any of our email reach outs, like we really are just introducing ourselves. Like, hi,
Yeah.
we exist. We're here along with the other, 4,000 balloon companies in our area. And we do talk about sometimes, like you're saying, the difference in traditional and organic. We offer both. And so we'll mention that, especially to corporate clients, we offer both traditional and organic decor. So we just kind of are telling people what we feel like it is that they might need that we offer. We just tell them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think I get too in my head, like, okay, they're having a grand opening, so I need to include mock-ups of grand openings, and I need to have pricing, and and maybe I just need to say hi. Like, maybe I need to take the pressure off and just say hi.
Exactly. I think so.
I love it. Okay. Conversion rate, like approximately, because I get really frustrated really fast. So like I send out one email and I don't book it, and then I just like want to close my business. I'm like, I suck. What is a realistic? I've heard like 1 in 100. Is that crazy? Is that high? Or
I feel like it also, well, now I'm like thinking, right? I'd say it depends on who you're sending emails to. So
okay.
if you're like opening up your tab and you're like, I'm going to send an email to every single dance studio that I can find within a 20-mile radius out here, that's going to be 100 dance studios. And the chances that they have a mom that does balloons already in the studio are high. So I would say that, sure, 1 in 100. But if you have someone, like an Eventbrite event or someone on Instagram that is very specifically doing something immediately, like a grand opening, especially if it's a new business or a family run business, they're doing what we did when we started. Like they're trying to start small, they're trying to get clients. And so they're not going to be hiring a massive company right out the gate to do their balloons. And so we're price transparent. We'll tell them, yes, this is our column price. So knowing what they can get and looking on our website and seeing, oh, hey, yeah, like I can have this. When you put that information, like it's like sliding a paper under their door. When you put that information right there, they're like, oh, okay. Like, so everywhere we go, we're always like, my whole family like bookmarks the local magazines. Like we all send pictures to each other from like elevator flyers. We're like, look at this. Like we need to email them.
No, I love it. I love it. I think that's so great. All right. And then my final question is the follow-up. Are you concerned with what happens after you send the email? Do you send a follow-up, or it's like mission accomplished, I introduced myself, the end?
Mostly that. Like, just so you know, we exist. We'd love to work with you. We found you. We like you. And we want to be your go-to vendor. And so from there, I feel like that information is theirs. And we have had people call us 3 months later and say,
yeah, totally,
I just found you. And so, from there, we don't follow up. Like, I personally can't stand it when someone like you say, like harasses you. It's
same.
like,
They're like, have you considered my proposal? I'm like, no, because I've deleted it 3 times.
Yes. Or like you get those texts like every day and it's like, did you want to get a massage? How about today? It's like, no, if I didn't want a massage yesterday, I don't want a massage today.
Yeah.
Like,
no. Oh my gosh. I feel like you need to come up with like a trademark. It's like friendly cold calling or something. Like I feel like anytime I try to get in like the head of a salesman, it seems so intense and aggressive. And they're like, we're just solving problems for people. Don't you love it when people solve problems for you? I'm like, no, like I just ordered windows and I couldn't get this guy out of my house fast enough. I was like, you need to leave before I have a mental breakdown. Like,
yes.
But actually though, that was from a cold call.
Okay. When we were talking about this, I was like, we straight up landed this podcast from a cold email.
Yes.
I emailed you.
We have to talk about that. Here's the thing. I think people are like, wow, I wish I could be on the podcast. You guys, you have to ask. That's it. Like, this was an email, and she was like, I have this thing to talk about. And I was like, I'm very dumb at that thing, so let's talk about it. There's no, like, I feel like sometimes all you have to do is ask, and I feel like that is the perfect example.
Yes. Like, I mean, good things come when you ask or tell, you know, like, hey, we do this. People don't know what you do until you tell them. And it just might happen that they're looking for what you do. Maybe
And
not.
it was a great cold email because you flattered me. You were like, we listen to your podcast. We love it. We'd love to come on. We have you playing in our shop when we're working. It's like, that's so much more compelling than someone being like, hello, sir or madam, I see you have podcast.
Yes.
May I be a guest? And you're like, what even is this? Like, this is not a thing. Like, so yes, someone told me it's a, what do they call it? Like a compliment sandwich. I guess that's when you give in criticism though. Like, you start with you start with a compliment, then you give the criticism, then you end with a compliment. But I feel like yours is kind of like that. You started with kind of an introduction / compliment. You kind of gave a pitch, and then you closed with like a friendly little greeting. And I think that's a very simple strategy to kind of emulate in any business.
Yes. Well, in this case, like, it was on, I'll be straight up honest, it was on our goal list to be on your podcast in 2023. And so the fact that it's like, oh, it's February, like, we're just, you know, thrilled over here. But sometimes, I mean, so that was like an emotional, like, exciting email to send. But sometimes, like, when, you know, when Bob is opening a donut shop, like, I'm not invested. I like donuts, but I'm not invested. I just want Bob to have a good grand opening. And so if that means 2 of our columns out front, good for him, good for me. Everybody wins.
Yes.
Like, or if Bob says no, that's fine.
I have a question too, because one thing I wonder is when I reach out, I'm wondering if people think I'm sometimes offering my services for free. Like, you know, and I'm not. But so I try to be very, I think attaching the price list helps clarify, but I don't want people to think like, oh, this friendly person wants to collaborate. That's a new word. We're going to collaborate. And I'm like, here's how we collaborate. You pay me money and I bring you balloons.
Yes. Like, this is a symbiotic relationship. Okay. That leads me to the super funny, like, response we got. So we were doing like batch, you know, sending out lots of emails looking for events. And we found an event space, like, kind of in the city. And we weren't super clear on what the event space was totally. We're like, okay, is this like a space for, like, I don't think that, I mean, can you say stripper on a podcast? Like, we didn't know what this space was. But then, like, we, you know, we looked into it some more, and it's a new space, and they host all kinds of parties. So if you have like an event and then you want to have an after party in what feels like a club, you can rent this space. And so it's like, oh, that's perfect. I mean, essentially it's like an in-house event planner, and, you know, wonderful space for balloons, like nightclubby vibes, totally cool. So we send off a cold email, and it's like, hi, this is what we do. We'd love to be your preferred vendor in 2023. Let us know if you'd like to work together. Like, check out our website. And we get this email back, and they're like, yeah, this sounds great. We want you to be our only allowed vendor for our venue, period. And we're like, yes. Like, the first paragraph of the email, awesome. Second paragraph is, and in exchange for that awesome relationship,
oh no,
any event that they host to promote their club or venue, whatever they're calling it, they wanted our services at a 50% discount.
Were you like, here's the thing. That's how we make money, is that 50%. Yeah.
I was like, okay, so essentially, like, you want to give us all these paid jobs, but then, like, you want us to pay you, like, at some point along the way. And we were just, like, rolling. It was the funniest, but honestly, like, it was a savvy response on their part.
Yeah, it
like,
was. Yeah, I'm thinking about it in my head. I'm like, I don't know, depending on the venue, that might be a good relationship. But that's a lot of balloons and labor.
Yeah, like, no. And I mean, it's kind of further away, like, it's in the city. So, I mean, if someone else wants to land that, like, good for them. But for us, it would not have been like a beneficial business relationship. But what an awesome response. Like, what, like, a cool, like, business interaction was what we took away from that. It was really funny. Like, but at the same time, it was like, okay, like, good for you for asking. Like, that's what we did.
Yeah, but no thanks, right?
Yeah, no thanks. Like, I don't want to do all your work for.
And I think that's true too. It's like the worst that anyone can say is no thanks. Like, and more realistically, they're just not going to respond. Like, I don't know why I'm so afraid of it, but I shouldn't be.
Well, when I listen to your podcast and when we listen, we've talked about before, like, I think a common thread in this business, like for successful balloon businesses, is that you're not afraid to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost every single person that you've had on the podcast has talked about at some point something that they have declined.
Absolutely.
And so, but like hearing no is the same thing, just on the opposite end. It's like, I have respect for people that tell me no. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, right. No, that's a great way to look at it. I think they're just humans too. They're trying to have events and you never know. And I think, what's the thing my friends in sales always say? No doesn't mean no. It just means no right now. So like you said, sometimes in 3 months they're having another event and that's appropriate for balloons and they now know who you are.
Yes. I feel like every event is appropriate for balloons, probably because I'm looking at all of life through a balloon lens now. But, we did funeral balloons. We have done funeral balloons.
I have done a funeral too. Yeah. Very sad, but yep. Every occasion.
But you feel good at the end of the day. It's like, you're bringing joy everywhere you go. And that's something too, like, I don't know if this will make the episode, but it's kind of off topic. Like, I feel like growing up, when you think about like TV shows or even as an adult, it's like all the powerful characters are doctors and lawyers. And like, sometimes I imagine like, what if there was a TV show about balloon people? Because all we're doing straight up every day is bringing joy. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than that. Like, you might be saving somebody's day, maybe not their life. Like, we're not, cardio surgeons. I think that it's a powerful and exciting role to have.
I love it. Let's end on that. That is so optimistic. I have so many notes of things that I am going to go and start doing. I'm so encouraged. I'm so excited to sell, which I'm never excited to sell. So thank you. Thanks for making this so simple, giving us some pointers that I think everyone listening can use. And I'm so excited. I will definitely send you an email as soon as I land my first cold client. It's been a very long time since I've done this, so I am excited.
Well, thank you so much for letting us.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It was so nice meeting you and chatting.
Yes.
If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that 17 Hats is what runs my entire business. So I was really excited when they came on as a podcast sponsor. Thank you so much to 17 Hats. But something very exciting is coming up. April 25th through the 27th is 17 Hats Boot Camp. So if you have 17 Hats and you're not using it to its fullest, or if you just don't know where to start, or you're looking to buy into 17 Hats, now is a great time because this boot camp is a 3-day workshop for $200 where they will teach you everything. It's like an intensive. I will actually be on the calls as a moderator in some of the Zoom groups because there will be breakout sessions. But I understand that 17 Hats is a very steep learning curve. However, it has changed my business. It maintains really my life. It allows me to juggle as many things as I do and not drop the ball. So I love 17 Hats. It is my all-inclusive CRM, so customer relationship management system. It runs my whole business, and I'm not exaggerating. So if you want to up your game on 17 Hats, I highly, highly recommend this boot camp on April 25th through the 27th, and I will link it in the show notes.